Okay, so I invite you, as always, to just close your eyes as a means by which to just shift the energy a little bit, become a little bit more present. Let's just take a few moments to take note of the breaths we are receiving. We'll just go silent for 30 seconds or so and just focus on your breath. Focus on where it's coming from. Focus on what it feels like in your body. Inhaling and exhaling. Okay, so, it was extremely easy this evening for inspiration for this warm up to appear in the context of this being Martin Luther King Day as we celebrate it here in the States. And one of the things that I talk about that I repeat often is an idea, a teaching. I believe it came from the Talmud, which is commentary on the Jewish Torah, but I think it's rather universal. And it says, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. We don't hear things as they are, we hear them as we are. So I just want to talk for a few moments this evening about a quote from Dr. King that I can only interpret as I can interpret, as me, as this spiritual being having this particular human experience, as Stephen, as the creator of spiritual workouts, such as it is. And the quote is, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." The arc of the moral universe is long, but it tends toward justice. So, what I personally hear in that statement is the notion that the universe, all that is, source, creator, all the words we have for it, God, that here in spiritual workout world, we trust, we believe that we can be, do, or have what we like, that it matters, what we want, that we create our own realities, right? And we talk all the time about how the universe is essentially neutral in terms of we have free will to create as we choose to create. In other words, it makes no judgment. You want to create poverty, you want to create homelessness, you want to create war, you want to create disease, go ahead. So, from that perspective, we do talk about the universe as being neutral. It just is. And yet, we also know that it's not quite neutral because it just always says yes. It just always says yes. And then Dr. King puts it in terms of bending toward justice. So, what I hear in that is this inherent benevolence, this inherent sense that yes, neutral, yes, you have free will, yes, you can create whatever you want, yes, there is no judgment, and go have fun. Go out there and have fun, play around, do what you do. And yet it bends toward justice. So again, to me, that means that there's this quality of benevolence that's inherent. which sort of makes sense, right? We mostly believe that the universe is benevolent, that it does, quote unquote, root for us. Or do we? Because we know here in spiritual workout world, this comes up all the time, almost always on Wednesdays at the intention setting clinic, when we're really talking about creating our own realities, setting shiny, clear intentions. And yet, do we really trust? Do we really trust the system? Do we trust ourselves? Do we trust the universe? Do we trust God? Do we trust the energy? Do we trust that it is all going to work for me? And so I think Dr. King's statement points to the answer to that being yes. Yes, it does work for you. It does work for us. When we talk about, as we do all the time, alignment and being in the flow, as it were, and intentions that come from our heart and not our head, and that our real work is to stay in alignment with any or all of these things, it's another way of saying being aligned with that quality of benevolence that the universe embodies, right? That sure, go off, do whatever you want, but when you on purpose line up with this benevolent, powerful, all powerful force, then you are in concert with it, you are supported by it. It is only and ever saying yes to you. And that seems to be the way things are. It seems to me, to these ears, what Dr. King was getting at. I'm also reminded in this conversation about how years ago Winston Churchill said something about us Americans. I wrote it down. He said, Americans can always be trusted to do the right thing once all the other possibilities have been exhausted. At least that's attributed to him. We can argue about those details later. But it's that idea that, sure, go out there, try this, try that, try this, try that, you Americans, but eventually you'll do the right thing. So I don't think that's American so much as it's human beings, right? We flop around, we do all these different things, and sometimes we create tremendous pain for ourselves. But you and I now know in spiritual workout world, living in human as spiritual beings, having human experiences in 2020 on planet Earth, that that stuff isn't random. That even if we didn't know what we were doing, we were creating things we didn't want, and now we know how to create things we do want. And what this idea says to us, that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice, is that the universe is indeed on our side, that it is benevolent, that it wants even more for us in all the good, happy, positive ways than we want for ourselves. So that just felt like a nice, again, in these ears, these eyes, a nice connection between one of the many things Dr. King said and spiritual workout world. So with that, I invite you to take a nice deep breath with me. Hold on to anything you like, let go of anything you don't. Let's come on back and talk about what you want to talk about.